Hello YouTube, I'm coming to you from the top of Nutkin Farm near the driveway, and just finished a stint of about 6 hours of mowing, and across the valley behind those trees you can see some of it. But I thought I'd stop, have a breather, make a little YouTube video because it's almost the start of the harvest season. And I wanted to show you what the orchard looks like when it's been prepared for harvest. So we're going to the house block, which is one of the older blocks of trees. You can see some nuts there ready to fall. They're in pretty good shape. They seem to be a reasonable size, although really they stopped growing in size once the shell hardened. They're just basically waiting to drop. Now along here you can see almost these race tracks showing the centre of the rows. Now the orchard at this point has been mulched, and it's not quite what you think in terms of having a mulching mower or just a mulcher that you use in your backyard. What's happened is that a mulcher comes along with basically hammers. There's two kinds. One has flails, which is like an upside down T, which is good for grass, and the other, which is good for sticks, leaves, rocks, you name it, is hammers. They attach to a big roller, and the hammers bash up everything into tiny little pieces, and the roller basically rolls the orchard down to make an absolutely flat surface. And as I'm walking along here, it is actually flat. All the bumps and ups and downs that you get during the season, little ant mounds and whatever else, have all gone, and we have basically an entirely flat surface for a harvester to come along and pick the nuts up off. And you know, it isn't quite harvest time yet, but you know, look, here's one of the first nuts to drop right here. And so that's where we're going to get a pickup from. And the harvester will come along after there's obviously lots of nuts on the ground. You don't come along for just a few. And that's the harvest. So you can see across the rows, the mulching it's been done where the nuts are going to fall. You can do a more extensive mulch, which is everything, but for this particular thing, where the nuts are likely to fall is, of course, you know, where to put it. So for example, here's the track. I point the camera directly up, and there's the tree with its nuts. If you can see some of them up close, all ready to fall and then be picked up. So it's you know, it's go. We think the first harvest might be a little bit later in March. I'm doing this video at the beginning of March 2020. You just have to keep a look at it and see how quickly nuts are falling. At the moment they're still well and truly stuck on the tree. We've got about a week more rain coming. Rosebank had over 600 millimetres in February, which was more than 2.5 times its average for that month. And yeah, it's certainly moist, although the ability of red soil to drain freely is quite amazing. You think of clay being nutrient-rich soil which holds water in bogs, and sand as being nutrient-poor soil that drains freely. Well, this red soil, known as Krasnozem soil, is the best of both. It drains freely, and yet it is absolutely full of nutrients, which of course go into the nuts that you eat. The price offers are out now, and nut processors are offering prices that are on average about 13% higher than last year. Why? It's a product of increased demand, and they suspect reduced supply because of the drought affected crop, where you can end up with nuts that possibly a little bit too small to harvest, or ones that have been damaged by just not enough moisture. So it'll be a good year for the crop that we do get, but then there's a question of how good quality it is, and all that remains to be seen, because we've never had quite so much of a drought in advance of a harvest season as we have this year. Lots of learning to be done, and but you know, at least as far as the processors are concerned, there's still massive demand for the nut and probably not enough supply. So the price for nut and shell seems to range from as low as about $5.60 to upwards of $6.20. That's assuming that you've got 33% kernel in your nuts and that they're dried down to 10% moisture, which that's an industry standard of weighing your product. And over $6 is a price that people wouldn't have thought they'd get about 10 years ago, when they were being paid $1.50 for the same thing. But it makes farming macadamias rather a better idea than it was 10 years ago, I suspect. All right, folks. Well, as you can see, it's lovely and green. The rain's going to keep coming, and the grass, as one bloke tells you, it's growing behind you after you've mown it. That's how fast it's growing. So no rest for the wicked this time of year. It is the busiest time of year, but I have to say it's one of the most beautiful times of year as well. Blue sky's lovely, but seeing some of those clouds over the mountains is a lovely thing. All right, hope to catch you soon. Bye-bye.